Basically, Jagex has given us a rundown of the feedback from the sailing alpha. I think this has got a lot of different stats telling us where sailing's sitting, how it's looking, because some of the opinions and feedback I'm seeing, especially on Twitter, which is usually just an echo chamber, it's a lot of like, here's their post here, let's have a look together. This entire alpha reeks of bad survey practices for the following reasons: low response rate, only 4,000 out of 65,000 participants responded to the survey. That's pretty much standard, with 3,380 completions. Low response rate, risk non-response bias, as sample may not represent the broader play base. Well, no, because if people gave a shit, they would give survey feedback. You can only do what you can, to be honest. Like, it's not Jagex's fault that there's only 4,200 people giving feedback. I didn't do the survey. You know why? Because I can't be fucked. And I don't think that's Jagex's fault, that you can't force people to do surveys, right? Unrepresentation of no voters. Only 5.8% of playtesters were no voters. Well, underrepresentation. Despite 28.1% voting no originally, this underrepresentation minimizes critical feedback from dissenting play. Excuse me? So 5.8% of playtesters were no voters. 28.1% were no voters originally. Then no voters should have given feedback and voted no. So that's not underrepresentation. That's no voters not caring. That's, again, not Jagex's fault. Leading representation of results. The post emphasizes positive feedback. 77.69 feels more positive. But these percentages are based on the 55% who already felt positive, not the entire sample. This nested framing exaggerates positivity and misleads readers. No, it shows consistency. If 55% has increased to 77%, that's a trend upwards, which shows positivity. This guy's not know what he's fucking talking about, eh? Lack of transparency on negative feedback. The survey results highlight positive responses, but downplay or omit detailed negative feedback, such as the 24.46% neutral on port tasks or concerns about boats getting stuck, reducing the credibility of the analysis. Sorry. I don't think that's... most of the negative feedback I see publicly is it shouldn't be a skill, it should be a minigame, it sucks, it was an April Fool's meme. I can't imagine negative feedback actually being constructive. If it's not constructive, it's actually just disregarded as irrelevant. It's not negative feedback if all you're saying is, it's shit. That's not negative feedback. You have to actually provide proper constructive feedback that is valuable. Otherwise, it doesn't surprise me if Jagex fucking throws that shit out. Self-selection bias. The server is optional and in-game, likely attracting players already engaged and positive about sailing. Yes, that's the point. The blog notes that most participants don't engage with osrs on social media, potentially missing broader community sentiment. No, the majority of Oldschool Runescape players don't participate in social media, full stop. The social media, Twitter and Reddit side of RuneScape is the minority. Premature conclusions. Post and blog draw optimistic conclusions. Core systems are on the right track, despite the alpha stage and knowledge issues like XP rates and boat mechanics, potentially ignoring the need for significant changes. That's not core systems. XP rates and boat mechanics aren't the core systems. The core system was more, the boat mechanics, I guess not in boat mechanics, but the movement and the overall trajectory of sailing as a skill and a piece of content was really the core systems. The game engine actually working properly, the server being able to hold it, people being able to have that render distance and having multiple boats at the same time. Yes, there were some rendering issues with other people's boats when there were too many, but being able to actually travel on the sea, which hasn't been done before in Oldschool Runescape in this way, that is the core system. XP rates are not core systems. These practices undermine the survey's reliability and fairness, risk and misrepresentation of community sentiment and ascertain skill. I'm going to reply and say, you are not a very intelligent... How do you spell intelligent? Like that? Person. All of your points completely... All your points lack actual... what's the word I'm looking for? All of your points lack actual value. Also, you are retarded. Alright, what else have we got? Oh. What have I done? Here we go. Wait, there we go. Okay, so back to it. Statistics don't lie, but statisticians do. You can... I don't care. Okay, cherry picking. Zero shot, it was 66,000. Probably was. Another interesting data point from the survey is that the majority of the sailing... Okay, so these people are quoting the survey that we're going to have a look. Not repolling sailing over shamanism is the biggest crime to players since EST. After reading the new... Why do people want shamanism over sailing, though? Right? Minor selling mistake? It doesn't matter. After reading the new skill pitch blog, which concepts for a new skill in Oldschool Runescape, would you be happy to see refined further? Shamanism and sailing won just by 500 votes. This is a multiple choice question. Each value reflects the percentage of voters who chose that option. Since players can pick multiple options, this will not add to 100%. Which new skill is your favorite? Sailing won by 3%. Okay, so it's probably worth noting that this is multiple choice. So a good portion of sailing people probably also voted for shamanism, right? Considering they're both missing 70,000 players, similar amount of voters, there's a good chance that I would say at least 50,000 probably voted for both or all three or didn't really care, considering it was multiple choice. So it's hard to say, but I think Jagex said... Did Jagex say that they would pick one... community calibration will continue throughout development in subsequent polls and betas? It just passed with a yes vote. Was there... Someone was saying that Jagex said if it's close, they'll do a second poll. Is that true? I have not seen that. I've only been told that. So I would love to see that. But let's look at the actual blog itself. 2 weeks ago, the Sailing Alpha playtest went live. Yep. Okay, largest public playtest we've ever run. Of course. In this blog, we'll dive into some key insights. So a massive thank you to everyone who took part in the playtest. Playing content in this alpha stage isn't for everyone, but it was incredible. 65,918 of you set sail last week. Pretty good. We're especially grateful for those who don't care. We recognize that your concerns amongst some players around sailing and opinions are divided. We look at player feedback across many different sources, including platforms where we see even, higher levels of negativity. These are players who care deeply about the future of our game and want the best for it. I don't think people who are being negative necessarily are caring more deeply about the future of the game than people who are positive. It really depends on what the actual feedback is, right? So back in 2023, we offered to lock in sailing with a new skill provider. We ran public playtests and continued consulting players on its design. As a colossal majority, 71.9% of the community voted yes to accept it. With an incredible 161,381 turnout, we would be doing a disservice to our players if we did not continue development on sailing. Since that vote, we've worked in good faith to develop sailing in line with our agreement. The Sailing Alpha is a testament to our commitment to the player base, demonstrating that we are actively engaging players in shaping the skill. Moving forward, we are collaborating with the community on the design of sailing, but this does not include revisiting the lock-in poll. Right, this does not include the lock-in poll. I don't know what the lock-in poll is. I'm assuming the lock-in poll is something to do with not picking shamanism or taming, like not going back, we're locking in sailing. Now is the time to help us shape sailing. Your feedback remains crucial in helping us refine and improve in sailing best it can be. Upcoming features like ship combat and crewmates are yet to be fully implemented, and we're still exploring many features like hybrid training methods, new resources, and exciting rewards. Okay. Survey data in August 2023. How did you vote on sailing's lock-in poll? Right, there you go. This poll which asked, should sailing be added to Oldschool Runescape's first new skill? This poll followed and is different from the one which asked about your preference between sailing, shamanism, and taming. 57% said yes. 13% said no. This is just from the playtesters. So 57% of the playtesters said yes. 13% of the playtesters said no. Oh, that's how you did it. Right, okay, I see. Okay, I get it. Around 4,284 players responded to our survey with 3,380 completions. We asked players how they voted in the sailing lock-in poll to understand more about where these insights are coming from. So 57% of respondents reported that they voted yes, 13% voted no, 18% they did not vote sailing. Okay. Alright. What is your regular skill level? So the most players are 1800 to 2100 total, which is probably right. Like this region is the most common place of, I guess, total levels in the game, I'd imagine. So that's fair. Our sailing poll results blog. Yeah, okay, yeah, we can see the results there. So on the results of the survey, they're looking really positive. So are you more positive about sailing than before you played the alpha? I personally am a yes voter on this. 77% are more positive about sailing before they played the alpha than before. Sorry, so after the alpha, they are now more positive. 22% of people are either not more positive or are more negative. Okay. Now that you've tried the alpha, how do you feel about sailing being added to Oldschool Runescape after development is finished? we have 46% saying very happy, and 26% saying happy, and just under 10% saying neutral, 5.5% saying unhappy, 11% saying very unhappy. Okay, so I would say neutral would mean don't care. I would put neutral in the vote yes column because I think that's not necessarily negative. It's not overall yes either, but I would say that Jagex would probably look at that as a more positive than negative. So you could argue that arguably 60, 70, 82%, probably anywhere between 75 and 80% would vote yes, whereas 16% onwards could vote no quite easily. Fair enough, they're not happy, who knows. Okay, did the sailing content in the alpha have at least one training method that matched with your preferred playstyle? Some people said no, of course. There was no combat, no crewmates, so I can understand that being no. I would rather, like people saying yes, Barracuda Trials was okay, Port Task was alright. The duck, like, current thing was, in my opinion, really fucking shit. So I think the captain's log and the tasks with the captain's log, I think that whole concept kind of sucks. And I think it's a bit shit. It's like a really weak leagues task list or a really weak combat task diary list to do. And it's just stand here and look at your telescope and then the angle isn't even accurate. Or, yeah, follow the duck and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I don't really like that. I think that's kind of shit. They could probably fuck that off. Personally, I would have loved to do combat and crew stuff. That seems like a lot more fun. So I think the best content in sailing is still yet to come. They make it like a diary in which rewards are given at certain tiers, then it would be really good. It just gave XP, that was it. But yeah, I don't know if we're going to get shit PvP, I'll be honest with you, Chuck, but who knows. That would be good if we did in a minigame format, but I don't think it'd be ever like PvP in the wilderness. Got to be padding these numbers somehow or excluding votes? How? They've only got fucking 4,000 people responding. I would say that's probably accurate, right? Do you know anyone that filled out this? Did anyone here actually fill out the survey that did the beta? I didn't. I played the whole beta level 30. I didn't do the survey, you know, because I can't be fucked doing a survey like most people. I can't imagine. I don't see what Jagex benefits from like faking a survey and a poll. I like people always say they fake poll numbers. I don't see how Jagex benefits from that. These numbers don't represent the general public's opinion. The general public had every opportunity to try the alpha and do the survey. If they didn't want to, then if you didn't try the alpha and do the survey, then you don't have really an argument in this situation. You didn't fucking try it. You didn't put the effort in. It was available for a week. Should have been available for more than a week personally, but if you didn't go ahead and fucking use the resources available to you from Jagex for free, then don't complain when like you're not happy with how it's resulted, right? Why do the survey in an email or whatever instead of in-game like always? It was in-game. This was in-game. When you played the alpha, you could do it was on your screen. In the alpha, physically playing, you press a button, it brings you the survey on screen in the alpha. So if you played the alpha, which 65,000 people played the alpha, all of those people had the opportunity to click the survey button, only 4,000 did. So it's not Jagex's fault that only 4,000 people did. You can't force people to do surveys. I'll fucking shut the survey down, you know? So that's they have to work with what they get, right? If the community is so upset and pissed and says they're not doing it right, but also won't do what they fucking ask when they say, can we get feedback? How can the community have any fucking say in whether they're happy or not with the results? If you really don't like sailing, fucking do the survey and tell them. Instead of being like, no, the survey's a lie. No, you're fucking tell the cunts. Like 679 of the people on here did. They said that nothing matched them. 77.69% of the survey participants said they felt more positive about sailing after playing the alpha. 73% said they were happy or very happy with the sailing, of course. They're very pleased to see 82.87% of respondents found at least one training method that matched their playstyle, which is good. That's very positive. Fair enough. How easy was it for you to control your boat? Right. Very easy is not even the meta. The meta is easy. Almost half the people found it easy, 11% neutral, 3% and 2%, so about 200 people found it, 212 people found it difficult to control their boat. They're just fucking morons, obviously, but we have that many people in the game, that makes sense. So the boat wasn't that fucking hard to control. How did you find the sailing side panel? Yeah, it was simple. The only difficult part I think people found with the side panel wasn't really the side panel, it was more finding all your sailing tools inside the box on the boat where the duck and the telescope was. That was a bit, people were like, where the fuck is that? The side panel was pretty straightforward, I think, yeah. I probably agree with that. Yeah, it's simple. How easy did you understand the upgrade options? Yeah, it was just like construction. Super fucking easy. Literally just like construction. If you didn't understand that, you fucking suck. And see how 23 people, you got 3,000 votes here, you got 500 more votes here. So some people didn't even vote on this. 3,500, so there's a similar amount of votes here. Find it easy, find it simple. Yeah, votes drop off. So yeah, because they said only a certain amount completed fully. There you go. So there was less people voting, but also you have less people finding it difficult, right? Here we go. So yeah, those are the results we just looked at. How enjoyable was the Tempor Tantrum? That was the Barracuda Trials. I would say fun at the absolute most. I mean, I finished it all pretty much first try, except for like the very first one. But we went all of them and did them all first try. It was very basic though. I'm sure they can do a lot more difficult and more challenging ones. Absolutely. Unfun and extremely unfun. Understandable. Like a lot of people don't want to do that sort of content. There was no combat, really. The sailing app would have been a lot more successful if there was combat, but they obviously haven't got that down yet. How'd you find port tasks? Port tasks kind of sucked. Like, they were okay, but, like, the boat's too fucking slow. Going to Port Sarim, from Port Sarim to Port Khazad, or going from anywhere to Port Khazad, it just takes way too fucking long that it wasn't worth the XP. I would probably be neutral, maybe like, definitely not strong like. I think I'd be leaning closer to neutral there. Sea charting, personally, I was fucking dislike. Like, yeah, I didn't try this. A lot of people didn't try it because no one fucking understood it. I'm surprised people liked it. Maybe I didn't do it properly, but I'm on the dislike column in this one. I would rather that, not waste my time doing that. Shipwreck salvaging. The problem with shipwreck salvaging is that people are already trying to two-tick it and you're only getting 60k XP an hour. Depends if you want to look at it from an XP perspective, which I don't think you should because they're not finalized. But AFK, yes, I did like it. Wonder how Def at sea will work. You'll just wash up on like a dock, the nearest dock I think, or the last dock you're at with your boat, and I think you lose health. I'm not sure. I think overall like is fair for shipwreck salvaging. That's just your AFK shit. So here we go. If you discuss Oldschool Runescape online, where do you do this? So in game, very often. Of course, who the fuck never discusses what? 403 people here are lying. If you discuss Oldschool Runescape online, where do you discuss this in game? Never discuss Oldschool Runescape in game. Bullshit. Discord is quite heavy. Never. Reddit. See, Reddit is occasional and very often. Twitter is really quiet. You know, there's more people fucking doing Twitch than Twitter. You know, Facebook is fuck all. Platforms fuck all. YouTube is decent. You know, what the fuck is Blue Sky? Instagram. You know, so people are complaining. This is quite accurate. People are complaining that, oh, they're not listening to Twitter. Twitter's got fuck all people, and it really does. But the thing is, it's just an echo chamber. It's just a loud minority, and it's just people that want to be right involved in the community. But most players aren't on Reddit and Twitter. You know, I'm not surprised that Reddit's higher, to be honest. Just discard the Reddit responses. I would rather discard the Twitter. I think Twitter is worse than Reddit half the time, dude. Reddit gets more attention. There's more people on Reddit. There is stupid shit on Reddit, but fuck, Twitter is just as bad, man. The problem with Twitter is that on Reddit, a lot of people hide their identity. They're a lot more anonymous on Reddit, right? Or they're less known in the spaces because they don't use Twitter and stuff. On Twitter, people are tying their full accounts and content creator statuses to like their RuneScape identity, and they are saying some of the dumbest shit, coming up with the most stupid ideas ever. It's all about fucking pick me and click me and fucking I'm right, you're wrong, and calling people retards, and it's fucking. Twitter sucks. It does. It's encouraging to see that none of the training methods stood out as overwhelmingly negative, okay? Something that can't always be said for existing skills in the game. Many skills have training methods that players either tolerate for efficiency or outright avoid, so it's reassuring to see such a positive response to sailing early gameplay. Of course, preferences will vary, and that's expected. These methods were designed to cater to different play styles, ensuring that there's something enjoyable for everyone. Well, hopefully combat does that for us. We've been reviewing your feedback from a variety of sources. We wanted to highlight some key points that stood out. All right, let's have a look. Boats getting stuck. This is common frustration during the alpha. Though we'll admit the parking memes were top tier. Okay, so problem solved. Oh, no, wait, no, it's not solved because I got stuck accidentally, didn't know. Specific locations where boats can just get stuck. Implemented escape options on boats, but it's not a permanent fix for the underlying problem. Yeah, we did get stuck on that little alleyway that we tried to go through, didn't we? Near Port Khazad. This issue appears to be related to mapping rather than navigational mechanics. In the short term, we're compiling a list of problematic locations flagged during the playtest so we can resolve them. However, a long-term solution is needed to prevent the issue entirely. We're exploring an engine side fix, possibly a tool that detects and corrects these spots automatically. That's awesome. XP rates. We acknowledge the confusion about XP rates as different speculative figures have been mentioned by various team members. To clarify, XP rates are not finalized. Balancing is always one of the last steps in development, of course. Right now, priority is making sure each training method feels distinct and enjoyable. We're more concerned about how each training method balances in relation to one another. We started with conservative XP rates, and player feedback suggests that it should be higher. Some skills in Oldschool Runescape are known for being slow to train, while others fast, but with sailing, early progression may have felt slower simply because it's a brand new skill and the alpha was limited to starter zones. Sailing will have meaningful progression throughout levels 1 to 99, ensuring high levels feel engaging rather than a grind. That's good. Big. So we saw requests to improve port tasks, the most notable ability to carry more cargo per trip. Having to make multiple runs, especially if you've forgotten an item, it feels tedious. Plan to address this by allowing crewmates to assist with loading and unloading cargo as you progress in sailing. You'll gain access to more convenient upgrades and reduce back and forth trips. Awesome. You're good? Some of you even suggested that strength level could influence how much cargo you can carry. While it's not something we've got firm plans for right now, you've definitely sparked our interest. Our art team had a great time experimenting with just how much cargo you could theoretically hold. That's pretty awesome. I would love to see that. What's up, Beardy Chef Gone Gamer? How are you? Another common frustration is the loading screens when interacting with your boat. I didn't really have that issue. We're exploring a solution that would allow boats to persist in the game world even when you're not actively sailing. Okay. Sailing water visuals compared to land, where there are landmarks and scenery, the open sea can feel a bit empty. Many of you suggested waves, currents, or other visual elements to make the ocean feel more alive. We experimented with currents during early Barracuda trial testing, but they didn't feel or look quite right. However, we're exploring adding Barracuda trial mechanics like rapids, which could provide a speed boost and potentially be tied to sea charting. Imagine fully charting an area and unlocking a permanent rapid path. That's actually a smart idea. Instead of just increasing the speed of the boat, have the Barracuda trial things like just throughout the ocean. That would actually be fucking sick. That you have to unlock. We're also investigating how we implement smaller visual effects on water, similar to how grass moves on land. Does it? Okay. However, a lot of this work is exploratory at present. Alright, that's fine. That's cool. Beyond visuals, adding more content to the ocean, such as sea monsters, NPC ships, and dynamic events, will naturally make the world feel richer. Don't have firm plans yet, but we'll share more development progress. It's cool. So they'll have like pirates and stuff eventually. That's awesome. Mobile. A lot of people didn't get to try to mobile. Basically, sit the fuck down. Sea chartering. You heard the feedback that chartering can feel more rewarding. Many completionist style activities grant permanent rewards. Players expected something similar. To address this, we'd like to tutorialize sea charting through mini quests and streamline the tools required for it. For example, the anti-rust tonic may not be necessary as the gameplay loop remains the same without it. Additionally, we're exploring ways to reward players for fully charting areas, potentially with permanent unlocks like the rapid system mentioned earlier. While we can't guarantee this for launch, it's a strong priority and we'll do our best to make it happen. Cool. Map labels. Some players pointed out inaccuracies in the terminology used the ocean map labels. Thanks. Gives a fuck, dude. Few players felt the boats were too slow. I did. Partially due to alpha being limited to level 30 in starter areas, boat speed will increase as you upgrade your ship. Better hulls, for example, will improve movement speed. Potentially unlockable mechanics like rapids will also help. Okay, cool. Make sailing faster. On a related note, some players commented that the current dock felt slow in comparison to the boat speed. Bear this in mind as faster vessels are developed, though we do expect that the experienced sailor in a quality boat should be able to outperform a duck. Yeah, but you got to follow the duck, which is the problem, right? What's next? Here we go. If you took part in the alpha, you may have noticed lots of new and exciting islands and points of interest. There is a sense of excitement from the discovery and exploration of sailing. Our focus is now shifting towards nailing the content that comes alongside it to ensure the players feel like there's a real reason to train the skill. You have lots of influence over the process and it will start very soon. Over the next few months, you can look forward to multiple design blogs and polls, all of which covers the content found in sailing. These include polls for new quests, a hybrid training method, rewards, resources, bosses, etc. All these tie into existing skills and have effects on the main game. the extent of which is decided by you. We appreciate that some players will want to keep the content a complete surprise. We'll be mindful about that, about the level of information we share. Alongside that, all the feedback will be taken into account as we prepare for the future sailing beta, which is big. We're still working on exactly what features are going to be included, but you should get to try more sailing activities like ship combat and crew management. Big. So when the beta comes out, we should have crew management and combat, which is actually massive. That is awesome. Let me sink enemy ships with a cannon, and I'll have a good time. You should be able to do that in the beta, for sure. Haven't forgotten about things like player-designed icon skill cape, of course. Yes, the sailing pet. More information will be shared on this in the future. Other skills in Oldschool Runescape have had years, even decades of expansion, while sailing is starting from nothing. The core of the boat movement has been a massive undertaking in itself, so it's notable that sailing will go on a similar journey with more features and expansions to be expected after its initial launch. In particular, we'll be adding a promised player-designed island project as a post-release expansion of sailing. That's cool. Once the core of the skill has had a chance to settle. Awesome. That sounds like a good idea. So, overall, what have we learned from the alpha results? More or less, a lot of the community that is actively loud on the social media platform is the minority, often not very smart, going by the Twitter posts. However, I think that the opinion of people that are involved in the community and social medias are a little bit more important than the opinion of those who don't dabble in social media, right? Because if you're not actively engaging in social media for Oldschool Runescape, you don't have to, but I feel like if you're not engaging in it, you probably just don't care as much as those that do. So I can understand why those that are loud on Twitter and Reddit kind of feel more passionate about what they want and they feel a bit unheard. But the reality is, when it comes to in-game polling, which everyone has access to, they just don't have a fucking... They're as small and insignificant as the PvP community when it comes to PvP voting, right? They just can't fucking win. So there is that. Overall, with sailing, my opinion since playing the alpha is that if sailing comes to Oldschool Runescape will be fine. It won't die. It won't ruin Oldschool Runescape. It'll be fine. However, Oldschool Runescape doesn't need sailing. It will be fine without it. It doesn't make a difference. I think the sailing coming or not coming to RuneScape is a win-win. Either way, we either get a lot of good content, a lot of big content, a lot of new content with sailing, or we scrap it and we move on to what's next, big, new, and exciting off the ocean. I don't think there is an actively bad result here for Oldschool Runescape because I mean, judging by the way that sailing's looking at the moment, then it's not actually, it's not horrible. It doesn't break the game. It doesn't actually it doesn't turn the game into something that it's not, right? It doesn't ruin the Oldschool Runescape experience. It doesn't fuck with your combat. It doesn't fuck with the way that you navigate or even just travel in general. It doesn't fuck with the way that you fight. It doesn't fuck with the way that you skill. It just gives you a whole new way to do all your skilling and fighting and traveling and discovery, questing. It just opens up a new avenue. I think that at the end of the day, you can't really argue against that. Fucks with everything? What do you mean? No, it doesn't fuck with everything. How does it fuck with combat? How does sailing come to the game ruin the ability for you to get a Grandmaster helmet? Or start doing raids, TOA, TOB, Cox. It doesn't change the fundamentals of the game. Your combat is still done the same. The way that you do mage, range, melee, the way that you fight, the way that you interact with other aspects of the game. There will be a Grandmaster combat task that requires sailing. There will be a raid that requires sailing. Okay, but you're still... It's not like EOC where it changed the way that you did combat completely, where you now had a skill tab and you had... they completely reworked the whole offhand system, so you had two weapons and then you had different skills depending on the sort of weapon that you had, right? If you had a two-handed sword, you can use certain abilities, but then you can't unless you have skimmies, then you can have different abilities for that. That's not happening here. That was a big fundamental change that fucked with combat, right? Sailing doesn't fuck with the game. It changes the game. It opens up the game. It doesn't fuck the game, right? This is giving you new ways to do so. This is like adding fucking Valamor. Instead of on the ocean, it's just another fucking island where you go and do different sorts of hunter, different sorts of quests, different sorts of fishing, different sorts of mining. It's the exact fucking same. It is the exact same. When Valamor came to the game, You now have a new mining method and a new prayer training method and a new hunter place and a new hunter method, and you have a new fucking combat place at the Colosseum. It's a new island. This is the same thing, but this time the island is the ocean. Right? Does that make sense? That is more similar than anything EOC related. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you agree with that, or do you think I'm being a bit pedantic? Doesn't ruin the game, but it definitely changes the game. I didn't say it didn't change the game. I said it doesn't ruin the game. That was my point. It doesn't fuck the game. It's like resource dungeon RS3 locked behind a little bit of dungeoneering, or in this case selling. Yeah, you could argue that for sure. It's going to grow the game. It will make the game much bigger, you know. It will make the game much bigger. I think it unironically takes the game forward. And I'm a no voter on sailing. I'm a yes voter now that I've like sat back and tested and played and thought about it and kind of embraced it. Looked at it from less of a view of I didn't want sailing, I voted for something else, fuck sailing, sailing's gay, should be minigames, April Fool's joke. If you're going to do that, then you're just never going to be happy, right? You're just always looking for the flaws and shit. You're just always going to fucking hate it. I mean, you're always going to fucking, like, it's like not wanting to eat food that you've never eaten before. Like, when I was fucking 12, I'd never eaten pineapple. I didn't like fucking pineapple. I hate pineapple. Fuck pineapple. Pineapple's disgusting. How do I know? I don't know, actually, because I haven't fucking tried it. Fuck pineapple. What am I? I'm just being an asshole, aren't I? Like the fact it lets you have vast majority of the map we have zero access to. Yeah, good point, King. But I do think it will change the game for better or worse. I don't think it will make the game worse. I don't see how this can make the game physically worse. The only way they make the game worse is if they absolutely fucking like bottom out the skill, where it just like where it makes the rest of the game unfeasible, right? But I don't see them doing that because of how engaged Jagex and the JMods are with the player base, with the alpha and the beta testing. They're asking these questions. If people had problems, they would fucking announce them, right? You need to if you're pissed about the survey results, you need to do the survey yourself and fucking put your piece in, you know? Makes it worse if they multi-skilling methods are overpowered. Well, they won't overpower them, will they? That's why they balance it, but they're not doing balancing yet. They're trying to get the core part of the skill out. They're just trying to see if this mechanically functions. If this mechanically functions and you can see yourself doing this, then they'll give you the XP rates and your drop rates and stuff, and they will balance it. I mean, they do an okay job at balancing things, right? In the past, they've done things like Zora and Volkov, that's fucked the economy, but they found ways to bring it back. Remember how Volkov used to give Bird's Nest? And it completely bottomed out Sarabrews. Sarabrews like 1-2k each. Then they fucked off the Bird's Nest and restricted it to just Birdhouse runs and the mole. And now Sarabrews have slowly come back. They've fixed it, right? They learned from that mistake. We haven't had a proper... I mean, other than the Phantom Mustbar did do a similar thing. They've done it with Torsos Seeds at TOA. But they also took on Desert Treasure 2 and kind of went against that rule as well that they usually go for, you know? They're learning... They try to adjust it. They're going to balance it the best they can, at least in the meantime. And the feedback that they get they'll make those adjustments. I don't think it'll get to a point where they fuck the game. It doesn't seem possible for me. They've been doing this for 12 years. Why would they fuck it up now, you know? People who say it's like RS3, every update is just copy, paste, omnitards. I played RS3 for a few. It's absolutely nothing like that mess. It's not, exactly. Gives more skilling options. Maybe some overstimulated, but some get overstimulated by so many options. Maybe. But how many people here are doing, like, you know, like, how do we all train fishing? How many people do barb fishing to 99, Tembros to 99, angler fishing to 99, the aerial fishing to 99? Like, people do different methods for different reasons and with different preferences. Sailing might give you a preference that you like more than others now, you know? Anglers might still be the play because you want them, especially if you're an ironman. You still want to go Tempros for your fish barrel, and you still want to go Tempros for your angler outfit and your a rare chance at an early dragon harpoon if you're doing like a hardcore. And you've got the tome of water, but then there might be more rewards that you can take from there to sailing, or sailing to there to help with Tempros as well. You know, it gives you more opportunity. My 60 fishing had macro assistance. That is a bannable offense, believe it or not. It's kind of corny, but yeah, it could be cool underwater raid. They might do an underwater raid. They might do a mix of sailing and non-sailing related combat in a boss, you know? Like big ass bosses that you fight both on and off boat. It mixes it up, right? What parts of sailing do you need the most work? Well, I haven't seen combat and crew ship yet, so that bit, because I want to try combat for sure. I think combat will really tell me if I can be fucked doing it. Like if combat has to be fun. It has to be for me, personally. I mean, I like combat and raiding and bossing. So if combat on the boat is kind of shit, I'm not going to see myself engaging in it much, you know? But if combat and crew management is good, like you get to level 70, 75, and now you've got like 4 like slaves on your ship, firing cannons, and or like one auto-navigating, or making sure that the sails are jibbed while you're navigating the boat instead, and they're all fucking everything up, like one's catching all the loot, that'd be fucking sick. It'd be cool. You have your friends on there instead of your crew. You know, it'd be good. But this also opens up opportunities on land where they're looking to do like different metal cannons. Yeah, bronze, iron, steel, mithril, all the way to rune or dragon cannon. Same for cannonballs. So you won't just have steel cannonballs anymore. It'll be bronze, iron, steel, onwards cannonballs, up to rune cannonballs. It gives you more AFK smithing, right? Imagine how AFK is cannonball smithing right now. Cannonball smithing is what? At most 15k XP an hour. Rune? Easily over double that, right? But what if that gets up to like what fucking... What's the XP? Is it the same on steel bars? I don't know what it is, but like if you start doing rune instead, you're going to be closer to 50k XP an hour. AFKing smithing, like that's a big buff to smithing alone. That 45k, that's fucking huge, cunt. Alone. And all you'd need is maybe like 90 smithing, right? Which most people have already. Then from 90 smithing to 99, and imagine if you can use that in your dwarf multi-cannon too. You don't even need it for your boat. Now your dwarf multi-cannon is like hitting 50s, right? 55 with the granite dust and rune cannonballs. You don't even have to do sailing. You've just got fucking new cannonballs, but it's been incorporated through that. I think upgraded cannonballs to sailing will be usable. That'd be cool if it was, but I don't know. Maybe dwarf multi-cannons are limited to steel because of the cannon itself. Who knows? I'm not sure. Right, yeah. So you're saying you get FOMO by doing a raid because you are getting combat XP in raid because you aren't getting slow XP. Hold on, what? So... What am I missing here? Personally, no. Wait, what did he say? I'm trying to find the original comment. Do you get FOMO training combat outside of Slayer? What did Fexoff say for that? I'm trying to find Fexoff's original comment. Do you get FOMO when training hunter or fishing by not doing drift nets or aerial fishing? Fair enough. And then his reply is, do people get FOMO training combat outside of Slayer? No. Why would you get FOMO training combat outside of Slayer? That way I don't think having multi-skilling methods through sailing is going to detract detract from existing skilling methods. Even if the initial release is a little unbalanced. Yes. Doesn't reflect the play base. I don't think people get FOMO by not training Slayer when doing combat. That's why people AFK Nightmare Zone and Crabs on Fossil Island, right? They just kind of want to get to... I mean, the meta is like get to some fucking level and then start sending it, yeah? Rage isn't a training method. Are you trying to be bad, faithful? No. Rage isn't a training method, but you train combat in raids without training Slayer is his point. So you're doing combat without Slayer and you're not getting FOMO because you don't need to do Slayer. Does that make sense? One of it be a slow skill? It shouldn't be. Based on this feedback, I think they won't make it that slow. Yes. I think overall we are looking at... Sailing's going to come to the game. I don't see it not coming, especially after this feedback, like from Alpha. This is all positive feedback, right? And if people don't like the fact that it's not positive, well, to be fair, you haven't fucking... A lot of people didn't vote, and they had the opportunity to. 61,000 people chose not to do the survey. I didn't do the survey because... Fuck doing a survey, you know? I'm also satisfied with how Jagex is handling the Alpha so far. I didn't feel like I needed to do the survey for my vote to matter. My vote probably would have been similar to what's here, I'll be honest with you. I would have been in the 2100 plus bracket, but I would have voted yes. I would have voted how do you feel about selling being added to the game after the development is finished? I would have voted very happy. I would have voted one training method that matched your preferred playstyle. I would say yes. I think with the Barracuda trials, although I would have liked to do combat more, so the beta will probably, if combat's good, then I'll do it again. Boat, very easy to control, so I would have been in the higher one there. The side panel, I'd say simple, very simple. I'd say simple. Is it easy to understand upgrading your vote? Yeah, it's just like construction, very easy. They've made that super good. They've done a really good job there. Temper tantrum, I would have done fun, not very fun. I would have done neutral for port tasks. I would have done dislike for sea charting. I would have done like for shipwreck salvaging. I would have voted pretty much comfortably with most things. I really only disagree with sea charting and port tasks, but again, those are preferred skilling methods you may or may not like, you know? There's no way it won't come to the game. They pushed it through when a majority of players didn't vote it as their favourite skill of the 3. No chance of turning back now. It was the most voted of the 3. Shamanism was just behind it. But people are saying, Steam Hands, that Jagex said that they will do a repoll if it was close results, but I haven't seen them say that. I've just seen people saying that. So yeah, I'm trying to suss that out still. Yeah, but that's the poll results. It'll come to the game. 0% chance they are this deep and they turn back. No, they won't turn it to the bin. But I think it's important to just make sure that they bring us the best possible skill that they can. Then, right? If it's going to come to the game, and you feel like it's it, then shit. It's maybe a good idea to be like, well, if it's going to come to the game, what do you want out of sailing? What would you like at least? If combat's fun, if you don't like sailing but you find combat on sailing fun, then fuck up the combat. Go hard on the combat, you know. Go hard on what they can do, or give them the feedback that you go, actually that was pretty sick. Firing cannons and sinking motherfuckers, that was actually dope. You know, you might like it still. Do you think they'll change 2K Total Wars now? I have no clue. Yeah, probably. That's definition of it not being a majority. The majority didn't vote for it. The other two combined had more votes, meaning the majority of voters didn't vote for it. Yeah, but it was multiple choice, right? If it all three, when voting on the skills, it wasn't pick one. It was multiple choice. So, like, you could argue that most of the people that voted for sailing also voted for shamanism anyway, right? So it'd be hard to say what was and wasn't majority, right? Sailing was the first new skill ever rumored. It's been 20 years in the making. It's needs to be hyped. It just needs to not be shit. You would make it unclear if you wanted to push it through. I agree. I mean, that's they made it multiple choice. They probably weren't expecting it to get that close, but at the end of the day, I think this was a better choice than shamanism in hindsight. I wouldn't have said so back then, but when you think about it, shamanism would have been so much harder, more dangerous, difficult, and slower to implement than sailing. I think while they've had to do this engine work to get the boats working, shamanism really would have opened up a fucking horrible can of worms. They would have had to bring so much new content to the game that is like that would separate the game from what we currently have. You can't be buffing shit. Like you can't be buffing gear and weapons and then expect PVM to be the same. If you start buffing Scythes and Torva and Shadows and T-Bows, every single piece of content now becomes too easy. Or the buffs aren't big enough that it's not really worth having a skill. It just doesn't reflect that the skill is worth training because it's only a 1% buff. So what's the point in fucking training it, right? So it'd either have to be a significant buff to the point that they need to bring a shit ton of content that either only shamanism can be used to actively PVM in, or you have to buff everything along with it, or you just fuck the game. Like, I feel like shamanism would have been closer to EOC than sailing for sure. Wouldn't they have to add almost an entirely new drop table for a bunch of NPCs? The drop table is not really the problem. It's more that, like, how do you buff? Shamanism was about buffing your items and gears and adding perks to your shit, right? If I remember correctly, to be able to make your woodcutting axes better and your pickaxes better, your weapons better, your spells better, your Your outfit's better for agility, things like that. So it's almost like a mini league for the skill. How do you bring that to the game without absolutely destroying everything else that's in the game currently? I didn't like taming because it felt like the whole pet system we have in the game would be either devalued or the game would be too clustered. Like, while pets right now they're just like niche little, they're fun to get, they're cool, but they don't provide any like tangible value to your account other than collection logging. And the rarity of them is what keeps bosses alive, right? It's what the reason people keep doing Zora sometimes is just because they want to get the pet. That's an extra, like, was it 5,000 kills to kind of sink in to get the pet on average. If they bring taming up and it makes pets seem less worth having because there's other pets you can have, you can't have multiple followers, or there's too much on the screen and people get overstimulated, or your device can't handle it or whatever, then people might be less interested in pets because taming is more valuable for your account. You spend less time farming shit. It just kind of, I mean, taming in my opinion was a shit idea. Taming, shamanism were two ideas I would never expected. Sailing I get because it was the meme and whatever. Shamanism and taming, I don't know where the fuck they came from when it was proposed. I personally would have liked to see another 3 skills, and I think a lot of people would have liked to see 3 different skills completely. But if they did that, you would just keep going around about. So we could have been doing that for years. We need another 3 skills, another 3. That one seems okay, but what about another 2? See what you can put it up against. At what point do we just lock in? So Jagex kind of big-dicked it by saying, you're getting these 3, pick one. I do respect them for doing that, but yeah, telling you, bro, milking was the correct skill to add. Shamanism is literally Irish invention. Very similar, yes. But that's okay. We've been logged out. A lot of yapping. This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple. You got a big boy. Look at him, goddamn! Fuck me, look at that boy. It's huge! What a big boy.